Welcome back to This is 30. And today we are talking about Demolition Man. So guys, Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone and Sandra Bullock. What do we think? Give me some quick answers. Go.
This movie was kind of genius, disguised as a dumb action flick.
Okay.
All I saw was dumb action flicks, so please go on.
It was a satire action comedy that was a lot better than Last Action Hero that I thoroughly enjoyed, and I thought it was a fun movie.
That's setting a low bar. That's setting a low, really low bar. Link to our This is 30 Last Action Hero below. But
all right, it blows Last Action Hero away. How about that?
I'm sure it does. Anything would.
Since you brought up Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
So we had a little jab with Arnold, with Stallone in Last Action Hero. And in this movie, we get a little jab from Stallone saying, oh man, he became president.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh, that was okay. That was like, I was watching, I was like, oh shit. I wonder if people who saw this movie and then in like 2003 or whenever he became governor, Schwarzenegger, they were like, hold up.
So the question is, who did it better?
I want to say this one.
Stallone here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it definitely was better.
Hit the nail on the head for sure.
Yeah,
because there was the Schwarzenegger library they had to go to.
Mm-hmm. I can see that being a thing before he dies.
And the Simpsons movie did it better anyway. The Simpsons movie actually made him president, and we did that way better. But that's for another video.
Right.
Yeah.
So guys, this is 30. We got a 30-year-old movie that we're talking about. What do we really like about this movie that was so, I don't know, awesome or not awesome?
The effects in this movie for its time were amazing. I laughed a little bit how they essentially blew their load in the very beginning of the movie with the massive explosion. And at the end, where we just see like, oh, the whole place is supposed to blow, and we basically got a fart. And I'm like, wait a minute. But the beginning of the movie,
you're right.
Everything blow up. And at the end, at the climax of the movie, you have a like. I was pushing that, but yeah.
For me, the best part of this movie had to be Wesley Snipes. I feel like he was the true star of the movie. He was the scene stealer. I feel like he was playing a combination of the big characters of movies he did at the time. Nino Brown from New Jack City, Sidney from White Man Can't Jump, and a little bit of his character Willie Mae Hayes from Major Leagues combined into one. And supposedly he improvs, but he definitely drew from those characters, like, and especially in his interactions with John Spartan, Stallone's character, and how he just he was just so hilarious, so entertaining throughout the movie.
He did a very good Nicolas Cage impression, I must say. I agree.
Oh,
he was definitely a standout.
Wow!
He was doing
what now?
He was doing his best face-off Nicolas Cage impression. It was fun to watch. I will absolutely agree with
this
pancakes.
Face Off came out in '97. This movie came out first, so is it Nicolas Cage doing his best Wesley Snipes
It was still
impression?
Nicolas Cage. It was still zany Nicolas Cage in Wesley Snipes' body. That's what I was saying.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. Couldn't take him seriously for a second.
I could taste the
You're not supposed to take it
right at
seriously.
that, Johnny. But
I'm just saying. You don't see it? You didn't see it?
I don't.
Listen, there's a right way and a wrong way, but I'm getting a vibe. Johnny, you didn't like this movie, did you?
Ding, ding, ding. You got it there, Big Grim. Good.
Okay. So,
good eye.
All right.
Good eye.
So, okay, let's talk about that, because obviously the 3 out of 4 of us liked it and 1 did not. So Mr. 64, can you explain to us as to why you did not enjoy this movie like the rest of us?
Okay, I think the best way to put it is that, like, you know, you see, like, we always talk about things that are ahead of their time. I feel like this movie is behind its time because
no way. Go ahead.
Let me explain. This movie was, if this movie was made in like 1984, like during like the RoboCop era, I think this would have been ended up becoming a much better movie than what it was in 1997, because I felt like they were trying to go for a tone that was like 80s action, campy, nonsensical, over the top movie. And I went into it not expecting that. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a more serious tone, but they just went in the direction of like super campy, super ridiculous. Like, you know, they were trying to make you laugh every 5 seconds, and it just didn't hit with me. And I felt like a lot of like the themes were kind of dated even for that time. Like, I felt like it was trying to go for an 80s tone in the late 90s, and it just didn't like capture what it was supposed to be doing. I don't know, because I went into it thinking that it could have been like a nice like RoboCop like alternate type of movie. And that movie in itself was like, you know, over the top, but it worked for its time, because like that's just how the 80s were. That's how
right.
80s action movies were. The 90s were different. It just, I don't know.
RoboCop worked because it was more of a serious movie. This was
and this wasn't serious at all.
I will agree with you. It wasn't serious at all, but I don't believe it was supposed to be. I think this was at the time when, well, okay,
because the premise actually was good. I like the idea of, you know, like this cop and this criminal, like that, you know, it's like semi-futuristic world where, like, you know, cryogenic freezing exists, and like, you know, they wake up in the future and they're still fighting, all this stuff. Like, it's a good premise, but the tone that they decided to attach to it just completely derailed it. I mean, it didn't work. It just didn't work for me.
You know why it didn't work? I think it's because I believe Cliffhanger came out earlier in the year, and Cliffhanger was Stallone's more serious movie for that year. And this one was supposed to be, think of it in today's terms, it was MCU'd, right? Because it was action. It was a thriller, but it was also campy in the sense where every few minutes you had a joke here and there.
That's the thing, and that's the thing too. Like with Stallone, I felt like he thought he was in a serious movie, and he was surrounded by people acting like idiots, like cartoon characters. Yeah. Like let's talk about Sandra Bullock, like her character.
She was totally a ditz. She was a ditz throughout the whole movie.
Like, was this her first big break movie?
No, that was
her first big. It was our first big break movie then before Speed, so it got her notice, and then Speed just propelled her to superstardom.
Right.
I mean, maybe thank God she has the face that she has, because I am surprised she had a career after this movie. She did not act well. I mean, part of it was because she had bad, like the dialogue was terrible all throughout this movie.
Yeah,
everybody.
But she was supposed to act that way.
It was so like. It was like,
here's the thing.
Right, it was grating.
To defend Johnny for just a brief moment in this sense, heroines in the 90s for movies like this were always written poorly.
Yeah.
Even if they were like the lead role, they really weren't written all that well. And I feel unfortunately, she worked with what she had.
No, but you know what? Then that's a good point to like what I was like the point that I was trying to make, that this, like, I feel like what you're saying, like, it's correct if you were talking about the 80s. In the 90s, you know, like women were starting to have more of like serious roles and more like powerful like you know, roles and things like that. So I feel like, you know, like again, they were just trying to take tropes that, you know, existed in the 80s and like, you know, things that were a thing in the 80s and putting them in a time where it just didn't fit. And
Johnny,
you know,
here's the thing though. Even though it is 93, this is still considered the early 90s. So a lot of the things from the mid to late 80s are still going to carry over into this until like 94, 95. Then we start getting on top of things. Now we're going to start
real 90s.
Our Buffy the Vampire Slayers and things like that. Our Xenas.
Regardless, the dialogue still sucks, and the depiction of what people would act like in the future was completely ridiculous. But that's
my god!
If I could share one criticism to sound like my neighbor, whatever direction he's in. So the way Stallone was acting, I think the part was originally intended for. I feel like you could have inserted any action hero in there take him out, put Schwarzenegger in there, put Jean-Claude Van Damme in there. I'm forgetting another big name.
Bruce Willis.
No, he does bigger martial arts.
No.
Bruce Willis did a movie like that. It's called Hudson Hawk. Watch that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, Bruce Willis wasn't the guy I'm thinking of. It'll come to me. But, you know, Stallone was basically playing himself, doing his, you know, basically acting like he was Rambo. But overall, I love this cast. One solid part of the cast was Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock in the leads. You also had Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary in a more Dennis Leary role in comparison to the family-friendly role we played in Sandlot.
Dennis Leary with facial hair.
You want to talk about an actor just playing themselves? That was what Dennis Leary was in this. And it was amazing. I thought Dennis Leary was phenomenal for what we had.
And the actor I was trying to think of, I think they originally wanted, but turned down the role, was Steven Seagal. So I feel like you could insert.
Thank
God, they did.
Thank the Lord. As if the movie needed him in this.
So there was a rumor. There's a rumor. The rumor is that originally Stallone, guess who he wanted to play Phoenix? Simon Phoenix. You'll never guess.
Probably.
Who?
Schwarzenegger?
Nope.
No, wait. I think I know this. Jackie Chan?
Yes, Jackie Chan. He originally wanted Jackie Chan. And the reason, guys, listen to this. This is hysterical. The reason why Jackie Chan did not do it is because at the time, back in '93, Jackie Chan was like the hottest thing in Hong Kong. And he was slowly coming to the US. He originally wanted Jackie Chan, but Jackie turned around and told him, no, Mr. Stallone, because everywhere I am a hero, and if I come here and I'm a bad guy, then people are not going to be well received about this. So we ended up with Wesley Snipes. And let me tell you something. When you, maybe this is just me, but when you look at Simon Phoenix, a little bit of how he acts and the way he moves and everything like that is a precursor to Blade, because he played that same character, just a bit more serious.
I'm sorry, a bit more serious?
Yeah.
Slightly.
Slightly.
Yes.
You're
similar,
right.
Similar haircut,
Obviously.
maybe. Similar haircut.
Similar hair. But listen, even the way he would, like, okay, so in this movie, he would throw his little one-liners, his quips, and he would smile, right? In Blade, he did the same exact thing, except he didn't smile. He was just like,
he also didn't quip all that much. He made like robotic motions and the ever-present, and that's it. Yeah, like I know where you're trying to go with, but there are like some elements, but I think that's also just like how Wesley Snipes does action scenes, which I don't think is a bad thing either.
That's just his style, yeah.
Exactly.
Did you guys also notice Jesse Ventura as one of Phoenix's henchmen? He had a small role.
Yes.
Yeah.
No mistaking that head. And Rob Schneider with a very small role.
Rob Schneider. Oh, God.
But this is early Rob Schneider, guys. Come on. He had to play the Kramer character.
No.
Can we talk about like the depiction of the police in this movie now that like you have like these scenes in my head now? Oh, God.
Go ahead.
Like, I mean, there's not even just the police. It's just like the whole depiction of the future, like I said before. But like, I get like it's supposed to be, it's a future. People haven't been committing crimes in years. Now it's like the peace police instead of like, the hard police. And they're all fucking ditzes. Like they're all stupid. They don't know how to like. They're bumbling around like the moment that there's trouble, and it's like what?
Because they've never seen
Rob
before.
Schneider. But then you have Rob Schneider acting like Rob Schneider. Like the whole. That's when I was like, oh, this movie is just like dumb, stupid comedy shit. Like, here we go.
One line that always sticks out is we're police officers. We're not trained to handle this level of violence.
Oh my freaking God. Like, that was like as bad of a line. That was as bad of a line as like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn in the Suicide Squad saying, we're like, duh, we're the bad guys. Like that type of cringy, like what kind of stupid line is that type of, line of dialogue? It was just so stupid. See, there you go, Big Grim. Now you're feeling it. Join me.
I know Johnny's gonna totally disagree with me on this, but I kind of enjoyed the social commentary on the satire of the future. If you took away mankind's societies, all their vices, no drinking, no sports, basically the underlying message that
no sex, no kissing.
I was just about to say none
of that.
Fucking virtual reality sex over here.
Just Pizza Hut overlords and 3 seashells. That's all you get.
Taco Bell overlords.
Speaking of seashells, has anyone figured out what the how the seashells are used? Go ahead, Grim.
No, you know what? Actually, no, because I know my answer is right. I want to hear what the other two have to say. I'm very confident in my answer.
I mean, it's clearly just go excavator mode and just boop, boop, boop.
But how do you wash it afterwards?
Okay,
I like your theory. I like your theory, but how do you wash it afterwards?
Okay. Pancakes, what about you?
Seashell number 2.
Well, I was going to say, my answer's totally busted. I was going to say poop in them and then flush the shells down the toilet like toilet paper, but you have to use them again. So,
but they're seashells. They're so tiny. How do you do that?
No, those were pretty big. They were pretty big in the movie.
Yeah, I guess.
Go ahead, Grim.
The correct answer, as per one of the writers from the movie, and the scene got completely taken out, is that 2 seashells are to be used as chopsticks to get the bigger pieces out, and the third one is to literally just mop up.
I can't imagine.
Again.
No.
How do you clean it to reuse it again? Do you just drop it in?
Soap and water. That's it.
You go to the beach and get new ones. I don't know, like.
Okay. Anyway, so let's talk
I
some
want to
numbers.
know what is the state of everybody's assholes in this movie? Like, can you imagine how like fucking
scratched up they are?
Like there will be blood. There will be blood.
I think there's a stick up. I think there's a stick up everyone's ass based on how.
No, there's a seashell up everybody's ass.
Yeah,
little fragments. You know.
Okay, so a couple of numbers. Numbers are, you ready for this? So this had a pretty big budget for 93. Had $45 million as a budget. And
40 million of it was blown in the opening explosion.
Pretty much. And the funny part is it actually did $159.1 million at the box office. So
it was successful. It's a hit for sure. Yeah.
Very successful.
Good for it.
But so you mean to tell me, Mr. 64, that back in 93, you would have never saw this at the theaters?
No, probably not. Well, I probably would have. No, maybe I would have just for Stallone because I'm a Stallone fan. And maybe for Wesley Snipes. But then I can totally tell that even back then, if I was like my age back then, I would have left the theater like, what the fuck was that? Like, come on. Why did they stoop? Why did Stallone stoop that low for this movie? Why did Wesley Snipes?
No, there was another movie he stooped so low. But okay, here's what really bothered me about this movie. You ready for this? It happened in the beginning of the movie. No, maybe in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's when Simon Phoenix gets out and he starts killing everyone. And these people are watching a live feed of everyone dying. The warden is dying.
My God,
and he's crawling. And instead of them saying, oh, we should call like a med there or something to that extent, they're just like, oh my God. Oh no, he's dying. And then you got the computer in the background saying, oh, he has an eye injury. He has broken broken ribs and a punctured kidney and all this stuff. And he's dying in 3, 2, and they're just like, nobody's doing anything. They're so shocked.
They were spectating. Yeah. The police were just as inadequate back then in the present day in that movie as they were in the future. So it was like, it was so dumb. They were all just so stupid. You're right. I almost forgot about that. But I remember watching that too. I was like, are we not like completely freaked out that one man is causing all this chaos and destruction?
And then their backup plan to catch Simon Phoenix is what? We're going to sit here and look at the computer screen until there's another red dot, and then we're going to go after him. So we're just going to wait until he kills someone else and then say, oh, he's over there. Send backup over there. What the?
That's what I'm talking about. Like the writing in this movie, the dialogue was like completely nonsensical. Like nothing made fucking sense. And was he like, did he have superpowers? Was he like, because I felt like he was just
they implanted.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Grim.
Did I miss something?
Exactly what Pancakes was about to say. When they're brought back from like their cryogenic sleep, whatever you want to call it, they're implemented with essentially like new sensation isn't the right word exactly, but they're put in like new impulses, skills essentially to make them a betterment to society. Like Stallone, he can now knit when he comes back, and you actually do see him watching a commercial and just start like knitting something. It's like, I made a sweater. I don't know how I made this, but we do see with Phoenix that he has been essentially turned into a super soldier with complete black ops training, weapons training, whatever the hell you want.
Hacking.
But that's also why he wasn't able to kill the Pope or whoever the hell he was, essentially, because it was put in his head. So that's why you give, as one does, you give the gun to Jesse the Body Ventura, and he'll take care of the job for you.
No problem. That was like his own thing in the movie.
And like, but even before he was frozen, like in that scene where he was just beating the shit out of everybody, I just thought he was completely OP. I was like, does he have something in him that he's just trying to run away from everybody?
Here's another thing that you're forgetting, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's a 90s action movie.
Sure. Yeah, I guess. I'm applying 2010's logic into a 90s movie. You're right.
How dare you?
You're right.
How dare you?
Okay, wait. I have a question though. What was his ultimate like motivation, Phoenix? Like what was he trying to
He's a psychopath.
Do? He's a psycho.
He wanted to control everything. He wanted to be the top of the world. He wanted to be the king.
Yeah, I guess. It was just like, okay, he's just the bad guy. He's just killing people.
World domination. That's what it was. I mean, more like city or state domination, but yeah.
It's more like asking, like, what's the Joker's, like end goal? He just wants to watch everything burn, essentially, right? There's no like plan about it. He just wants pour gasoline on it, light all the matches, and watch the fire burn everything down. Same thing applies with Phoenix here.
But like, I'm not like asking for like a backstory or like a Thanos type of like explanation for what he's doing. It's just like what is he like? Why? Like what? Like give me something as to like why he's doing what he's doing.
He's the bad guy in a 90s action film.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I'm sorry, but that's the best answer you're gonna get. It's not a good answer.
That's the only answer.
But it's an answer.
Yeah.
One funny observation I want to make. The futuristic cars maybe kept thinking of Teslas. I feel like Elon Musk was inspired by this movie, the design of these cars, for what we ended up getting, because that's what the cars in this movie made me think of every time they were on screen and Stallone and Sandra Bullock were taking rides in them. But
I feel like it was just like every other, like any kind of like movie or show where it's like set in the future, insert like stock futuristic car here. That's honestly how I felt about it. Like,
I think it was because it was battery powered. That's why, because those things were not gas powered. That's why I think Pancakes is saying that.
That's
fair. They reminded me of the penis cars from Austin Powers Goldmember, but that was just me.
No, go ahead.
I have one thought I want to finish up from earlier, like the social commentary about taking the vices away from society. I like the underlying message at the end, like you got to let people live, let them have their free will. That's why Dennis Leary's gang of outlaws, were living life the right way, and Stallone related to them, and you had to integrate the brainwashed people with people that had to leave. Let people mix and interact, and vices is part of mankind. And I'll get off my podium now. Now back to the regular schedule programming.
Remember, let people live, or else that's how you get rat burgers.
Listen, he finished it, okay? He didn't throw it out. He finished eating it, and that was that.
That's true. Just saying, if we had red meat, we wouldn't have to have rat burgers.
So do we think that this is a classic?
Absolutely, yes.
No.
I stopped short of saying classic, but it's definitely worth a watch and a popcorn flip to put on to enjoy a laugh and have action
absolutely.
in one.
It's
yeah.
No, you can watch. Yeah, it's a classic in the sense that if you want like dumb '90s fun, by all means go for it. Like you're not going to waste your time, but it's just like don't go into it like me thinking that there was going to be some sort of semi-seriousness like this, or expect decent writing or decent dialogue or decent acting. There's not much of it anywhere in this movie. Not in my opinion.
I don't know. I disagree on that. But anyway, those are our thoughts. Let us know down low what you guys think. Did you see it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you agree with Johnny 64, or do you agree with everyone else here that this movie was awesome for what it was? On that note, we're out. Roll credits.
Roll credits.